And let me click on that thing again. Sorry, I'm a little unprepared here. So let's see, 96 today, 92 tomorrow, 88 on Friday. That's when the rain moves in, about a 50%, but not really too bad today and tomorrow, except for the heat. Right? Mm-hmm. You got your choice. Heat or the rain. Heat or the rain. Heat or the rain.
I appreciate all of it.
Yeah, you gotta.
I do. I appreciate all of it. I mean, you can do stuff in the rain. You can do
God's
stuff
world.
in the heat.
Just
you have to appreciate every day.
Yeah, we got air on this planet. That's my biggest thing. Every other planet has no air.
Exactly.
Thank you, God. Thank you for giving us the air.
That's right. Thank you. We need that desperately.
Galen, you know this on the phone from LifeSouth Community Blood Center. Hey, Galen, how you doing? Did I lose you?
Is he not there?
Galen?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Oh, there he is.
Oh, there you are. Where are you?
Oh, I'm heading to Gainesville.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we lost you somehow. I don't know. Sometimes
I don't know.
I think this line is better than the old line because you never tell me anymore that we have echo.
Well, you got rid of the echo before this line, but yeah, I'm thankful.
Oh, okay.
It sounds much better on my end.
Okay, yeah.
Than it used to. It used to just be torturous.
So before we went on the air, Galen and I were talking a little bit about the trains that Hugh had brought up, the train thing.
Yeah, Brightline.
And the conversation is kind of the same as it always is. Hugh wants it really bad, and many, many people do, including the guest we had from the train organization.
Yes.
Right? And I suppose I'm on board with that one. On board. You know,
I love that. That was so clever.
Right. but at the same time, I don't think you can root for something and demand something if there is not enough evidence that people will ride it. Although it's happening. I mean, the guy's building it, the guy from Virgin Airlines or whatever, right? So I guess it's happening. So.
Well, the key is if he's trying to get government funded. He's trying to get all kinds of subsidies and things like that. And what I like about Brightline is it's completely private, no government money. It's running on existing track. It's only 90. I think they run every 90 minutes or something like that. It's not an expensive ride, which I think is the key. Because in order for any public transportation to work, it has to be more efficient than a car. So that in order for the masses to use it. When you get on the MARTA, like for example in Atlanta, it's because it's easier. You don't have to worry about parking. You don't have to worry about the massive traffic. I don't know if you'll have that problem between Orlando and Ocala, for example, Orlando and Jacksonville.
Well, I don't know. We had a guy in here, and he did a big study that he represented a study that was done. I don't know if he did it himself, but and he had all kinds of evidence that this would work, and the cost would be about the same as building a road, and the cost for the driver would also be there because obviously you have to pay for gas and tolls and all that. So
right, exactly.
I don't know.
Right, but it depends on if you look at the people who are going to Orlando, they're from out of the state.
Yeah,
so are they going to drive their car, for example, to Ocala and then drop off their car?
Right. Yeah.
Park there for a week. I mean, to go, 40, 60 miles, 70 miles or whatever. I think where they go.
I think it's more for the local people, don't you?
It might be, yeah.
Because there's
not enough.
Yeah, but
there aren't enough people to.
We have had giveaways at WOCA with events and things in Orlando and in Jacksonville, and people would call up and say, well, that would be great, but I just don't like to drive that distance. So now if you've got the train, somebody else is driving, so you go and you get on the train and you have your fun, and then you come back on the train and you don't have to worry. So I think it's a good thing.
Well, and how do you get to the train station, and how do you get from the train station to wherever you want to go? I think a lot of people, when they fill out these surveys, they say, hey, if there was a train, would you take a train? And like, yeah. But practically, no, you wouldn't, because, I don't want to have to figure out, I don't understand this Uber thing or, a million other things like that. And I think people love their cars. America loves their cars.
So I guess the only thing I have to say is the same thing I always say, is that whenever there's any kind of a market study, and the market study says, as you just said, Galen, that yes, we want to have a McDonald's on this corner, or yes, we want to have a what's that thing they're building now on that corner? A racetrack gas station on that corner.
Yeah.
Sure.
Or the community at large wants it. And if the community at large doesn't go to it, it falls apart.
Right, it does.
I mean, let's use the Riley, for example. Thank goodness people are going to the Riley, but that was a big gamble. You know, are people going to actually pay money enough to support it?
Yeah, because the tickets prices vary.
It's a wonderful venue. If we don't go to it, guess what? It goes away. Same thing as the ABO's Pizza's gone. Guess why? People weren't going
Yeah,
there.
but the difference is the massive infrastructure required for a train. It's massive, and it takes so much coordination and the investment. No one wants to front that. And the reason the Bright Line works is because they're using their existing railway. That's why it makes sense. It's not a brand new system. And the issue is no one wants to buy a house near a railroad track. I mean, it's loud. If you've ever had a train come at speed past your house or within 2 miles of your house, it's loud. So that's now we're getting into the NIMBY territory.
I lived 10 years. 10 years.
Not in my backyard.
How far was that from those train tracks? 2 blocks, maybe?
Yeah.
2 blocks
right.
on the train. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
you lived there 10 years.
And you did. Yeah, I mean, you're right. You sort of get used to it, though, just
Yeah,
so you know.
do.
But
But the next person who's going to buy your house, they're going to go, oh, there's a train right there. How often does that go? And you're like, oh, I don't notice. And I'm like, okay. But I mean, that's going to impact your property value,
No.
and that I'm sorry, that's a fact.
But okay, here's the big but. The but is that this is already built. It's signed on the dotted line, and they're building it. And now it's just a matter of time to see if it's supported or not. That's the thing. Will it be supported? If not,
are you talking about the Bright Line or the one by the Virgin Airlines guy?
Well, it's kind of the same part of the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, they're going together.
That's fine. But Bright Line, they've already got the track laid because they're just using existing track. So the track they're going to use, from my understanding, is already exists from Orlando to West Palm.
I thought it was owned by CSX or whatever.
Yeah, the track is owned by CSX.
Yeah, so they actually pay money to use
They
it.
already own the track.
Who does?
They already own the track.
Who does?
East-West.
Okay, so the
track is already laid.
Okay, for what I understood was that the track was owned by the freight lines.
Yes.
And the passenger trains paid like a rent or something, some kind of a fee to use it.
Sure. Right. Exactly.
They do.
And they also had to take a back seat whenever the train would come. They had to get off to a sidetrack or something.
Yes, they did.
Sure. Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's existing infrastructure. It's not.
Well, it
new
is being
infrastructure.
done, though. I mean, it's not a debate about whether to do it because it is being done, and it is being done, as you said, by private money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not taxpayer money.
And and I know that they are looking for some help and stuff. They're looking for help for the line that they want to go from Tampa to Jacksonville, right? They want some money for that.
Yeah, they do.
Well, if they build it and they don't come, just like if they had built that baseball stadium here, if nobody went to it, we would be all saying, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe we built that."
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Are you there, Galen?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's just I don't believe the government should fund any of this stuff.
Nothing.
So I mean, if a private nothing, not on a train, or a baseball stadium.
Well, what about a road? What about a toll road? Should the government pay to build a toll road?
Well, they build these roads and then they make them tolls, and that's how they offset the cost.
Same thing with the train.
Well, in the original roads that were built in this country were all toll roads, and and then we built the interstate. I would have no problem if the roads became private. You had to pay a toll to go on them. I have no problem with that.
Did you ever hear the story about I-95 from here, or from Florida rather, to wherever it ends up north, wherever it goes, that the section between The section that ran through Washington, D.C. was the last piece to be done, or close to the last. Did you ever hear that story?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I lived there. Oh, yeah.
Okay, because I remembered when I first moved here in the early 70s, I would drive up I-95, and you have to get off, and then you went through D.C. on these city roads, and then you get back on, because D.C. wasn't a state.
Right.
It was an interstate road, and for some reason, they forgot to include the money from that little section of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think that part's true. I think they wanted that section to be last because it's the most difficult. So,
Okay.
engineering-wise, it was because if you've ever been up there,
By the way,
split on the loop.
I know you like to make fun of our Amtrak trip. One of the best stretches was through D.C.
Yeah, that was great.
Because
Sure.
I mean,
Right downtown.
I cannot throw very far, but I could have probably hit the Jefferson Memorial, whatever you
Yeah,
call
it was right there.
Yeah, it was right
great.
next to the train. It was like, holy cow, there it is right there.
It was great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of cool.
Good thing you didn't have to go to the bathroom at that section.
I know. Oh man, that was a tough part of that trip.
Yeah, very tough.
That was Amtrak. Yeah, that's
That
another
was
thing. Yeah.
They had to fix that.
All right.
And again, I mean, if people want to ride on a train, let them. I just don't want to subsidize it. There's not a single public train in the U.S. that's profitable. They're all government subsidy, and they cost more than flying. It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. I don't know if there's no train system making a profit. Why would they build it then?
Well, because it was already there. Hey, you can Google it. There aren't any outside of the Bright Line, and that's privately owned. I don't know if they're making a profit or not.
Well, you said to Google it. Let me Google it. Okay. Which trains make a profit?
No, at public transportation, so it can't be a freighter. So like Amtrak is the only one outside of Brightline, and Amtrak has been losing money for decades.
Amtrak's Northeast service, stretching from Washington, D.C. to Boston, accounted for 37% of its riders, 38% of its annual revenue, and nearly all of its operating profits in 2015.
There you go.
So that little stretch is where they made their profit, that little stretch from D.C. to Boston.
But then why are they getting money from the government every year
No.
to operate, to maintain being open? It's because they're not making enough.
I don't know. I mean, we've had guys in the studio, on the phone and in the studio, that have studied this, and they compare it to roads. If you listen to the interview that we did with the gentleman, he was saying that when you build a road, it costs money. When you drive your car, it costs money, whether it's for gasoline or car maintenance or tolls or whatever.
Well, I hope those people are putting their own money into it.
Yesterday was such a more fun interview than this one.
Yeah, it was.
30 seconds. Oh my gosh.
You guys you just love trains. I know. It's okay.
No,
I just don't think there's any future. in it.
Oh my gosh.
I think it's an old technology.
How do I go from there to what I wanted to talk about? I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we love trains.
Yeah.
I wanted to ride a train, and we did.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I haven't done it again since.
But you have like this romantic notion of a train, and that it's this great way to travel, and it's just.
Wait a minute.
They want to be in their cars. They can get off on any exit they want.
Well,
Okay. I think the romance isn't, well, maybe it is the train somewhat, but it's also the country. I love this country. And if you fly, you don't see much of it. You see an airport and then another airport. You don't see everything in between.
Exactly.
And the train gives you a chance
You get that exact same view driving.
No, you don't, because you got to drive. You got to look at the
you can't pay
road.
attention.
Everybody else in the car gets to see stuff.
Okay. All right.
But then you have the train that runs from Milwaukee to Chicago and Chicago to Milwaukee. You take the train from Milwaukee to Chicago. You get off. You take the train, the L around Chicago, and you go see the opera and things down there. Then you get back on the train and go back to Milwaukee. It's like a 76-mile trip. It's great.
We had the guy on Galen. I said to him, that if you ask me how many times I've ridden a train, I would say once. Or when was the first time I rode a train? I would say 2 years ago. But the truth is that I would be telling an untruth because I grew up riding trains. I just don't consider the commuter trains. That's the part I think is romantic. I don't think the subway is romantic at all.
No, not at all. But it makes a lot of sense, though, because the traffic and parking in a big city like Chicago or New York. And,
nor do I think
it makes those commuter trains make sense.
The Long Island Railroad is also not romantic. It's a great nap. I mean, you can take a nice nap on the Long Island Railroad. but Amtrak is what I think I've found romantic. So in that regard, yes. One of the 3 trains that I've had in my life is the only one I consider a train. The rest of them look like I don't know. They're trains.
But you're taking a train to another train, so they're connected, right? You don't have that kind of infrastructure in Orlando, for example. Once you got off the train at the train station, how are you getting to your final destination? Right. Okay.
Uber and the city bus, because the city bus station is right next to the train station too.
And the second you take an Uber, it's going to be $30, and depending on how far you go. But that's a tank of gas.
Okay.
It's like, I'll just drive. That way I can have my own car.
Okay, but
I can leave when I want.
But the real conclusion to all this, just so we can conclude this, is A, you don't care for trains. Therefore, you will probably never ride one. And therefore, if 90% of the people are agreeing with you, then yes, trains will not survive. The other part of the equation is I'm probably not going to ride them that much either. But I will use them now and then. But I don't think a guy like me is enough to keep them afloat. So if another 5% of the people are on my page, then they're also not going to survive. That leaves 5% that actually have to use them on a regular basis all the time.
Yeah.
That's the part I see. Not that I am against trains, but that from a decision point of view, whether to build them or not, if I can see that only 5% of the people will use them regularly, another 5%, that would be me, would use them sometimes, but 90% would rather use their car. I think you're right about that. Whether I find them romantic or not isn't going to keep them going.
No.
It'll put them in a museum, and then that's how I get to see them from that point on. Yeah.
Well, they've been talking about a bullet train connecting Orlando to Tampa to Miami and that whole thing, and including Jacksonville, for 30 years.
Correct.
Maybe longer.
Right.
And they've done all these studies how it would work, but nobody's come in and said, "All right, I'm going to invest in this."
Well, they are.
I think it's going to make me money.
No, they are. They are investing in it
right now. They're starting.
Yeah. The people who came in here, the guy who came in here, that's part of what they do.
The small little bright line, again.
Not that one. No.
Very small track.
It came through Ocala, Galen. The bullet train came through Ocala. We went down to see it. This was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was here.
They were showing it off to try to, I guess, get us to like it or something. But it was late, so it was like holy cow, the bullet train is late. You would think the bullet train would be early.
Yeah,
but it was late. My whole point is not to disagree with you, but rather to say that the thing is already in the works, and now it's up to us to support it or not support it. If it doesn't get supported, it will go away.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm not really disagreeing with you. I mean, your conclusion about Robin and my romance with the train is probably right.
I know they supposedly broke ground 2 days ago, last week, something. We'll see if it ever finishes. Because Virgin Airlines,
correct,
that guy has a way of starting things and never finishing.
Yep, that's absolutely. If somebody said to you 100 years ago, let's make big boats, cruise ships, affordable for the general public, and make lots of them, then the consensus might have been, who's going to want to take a boat?
Exactly.
Who's going to want to do that? But
well, you got to remember, the Titanic was more than 100 years ago, so.
The Titanic?
I think.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So they had That's how people got to the America.
Oh, no. That's how the rich people got to America.
Yeah, the rich.
No. They had different class levels.
Oh, my gosh.
There were poor people on that.
All right, you wanted me to Google the other.
ship.
All right, the cost of taking a cruise is so affordable today compared to the Titanic years.
Exactly.
It was unbelievably expensive. You and your wife would not be doing, in those 100 years ago, you wouldn't be doing cruises to the Caribbean.
No, it would be too
Well,
expensive.
there were different. But there was first class. There was,
But okay,
there were different levels.
you're missing the point.
On the Titanic.
The point is that if somebody had proposed it, which they did, we should build big ships for the average person, the average working man and woman, to be able to get onto these ships. And the pushback was, oh my gosh, you're going to spend how much money on a boat and nobody's going to ride it.
Right.
But the thing is, everybody rides it. They talk about romanticizing. Those boats are definitely romanticized. So maybe the same thing will happen with the trains. You don't know. It's a matter of waiting and seeing. And if it doesn't get built, then we will never know. Same as the baseball field.
Yeah, but the boat was the only way you could get here. You couldn't fly. So people wanted to come to America, came by boat.
Yeah, but that's that's the key. People use the boat only to get from one country to here, and they stayed here. They didn't say, okay, now in 6 months I'm going to buy another passage, which costs me, a whole year's salary to go back to the country and go on vacation and then come back again after a week. That wasn't the purpose of the ships back then.
Yeah.
Except for the rich.
Again, it boils down to if people will support it, it'll last. I think that's the truth.
I'll be shocked that this Virgin Airlines ever carries a single passenger.
Oh my gosh! I think that'll be built. It'll be built.
No way.
Really?
He always waits and does things. He wanted to go to space, and then he's like, "Well, that didn't work." I mean, he's done this kind of thing before. I mean, he does it for headlines and then he's like, oh, that didn't work. He tried an airline for a while. That didn't work. Tried to sell it, lost money. He goes, that didn't work. Tried to have a recording studio. That didn't work. So
he's got a lot of money.
Cruise line. That didn't work.
What does he make his money off of? How does he make his money?
He just Richard Branson. That he owns. If I remember, I thought he owns casinos or something. And then he came into money. So yeah.
All right. So if Galen is right,
how about this? If it actually runs, I will ride on it. I will get on that train and ride it wherever I'm supposed to ride it to.
Wow. I have to wait a long time for that one.
It's not going to happen.
Remember that, Robin.
I will.
If it's built, Galen will ride on it.
That's right. It's recorded.
I will.
How far? How far will you go?
Complaints.
Tampa to Orlando?
I'll take it for wherever it goes, from the beginning to the end.
Okay.
Round trip.
That would be Tampa to Miami, according to the plans.
Great. I'll have lunch in Miami, get back on, and go back.
There you go.
And get my car and come home.
Galen, I want to make sure we thank Palm Garden of Ocala, because even though you haven't said anything yet about blood donations, that's what they pay for. So, Palm Garden of Ocala, thank you for what you do. Thank you for being there. Thank you for being a skilled nursing facility. And for everybody else, just go take a tour. You'll see they're at 2700 Southwest 34th Street, Penn Flooring. Thank them also. They're at 1201 Southwest 17th Street. They can put new flooring in your home or office, make your home or office more beautiful from the floor up. And you will be happy with that product. You'll be happy with the services of Palm Garden and with the services of LifeSouth Community Blood Center, who save lives all the time. And somebody one time said, you can't make money with that. And Galen said, well, we're not going to. We're going to save lives instead.
Don't make money doing that.
Who's going to lay down and give blood? Nobody's going to ever do that.
That's right. Exactly.
Galen, where's the Bloodmobile today?
Hey, Bloodmobile today, we're actually back down at the Villages, right at the same place at the Walmart right there on Wedgwood Lane. So please come by, give us Give the gift of life and share yourself.
Yeah. Who's ever going to live in a community where everybody drives golf carts? Come on.
Shoot.
Right.
That you got to remember that was ahead of its time. Trees are a step back in time. They are. It's old technology.
You got it. You got it.
Technology.
You got it. Thank you, Galen. Be careful out there.
All right, you guys are the best.
All right, we'll be
Bye
right
all.
back.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. 3 weeks from today, Special Counsel Robert Mueller will comply with a subpoena and testify publicly in Congress about his Russian election meddling report.
President Trump's attorney Jay Sekulow tells Fox's Shannon Bream.
The good that Bob Mueller is going to